Ichibei Vs one of the most broken characters in all of Bleach. And not only that, being the one who's the monk who calls names, and being the one who's basically the leader of the Zero Division. They're all fodder. But to put it bluntly, Ichibei is strong. He was able to beat a pre-almighty Yhwach, and not only that, he is most likely stronger than Yamamoto. I did the same with Longoris versus the MHA verse, so I wanted to see what would happen if Ichibei versed the entirety of the Black Clover verse in character, but they will be working together. Same rules apply as the Longoris versus the MHA verse, but again, I wanted to add some Bleach characters here. I thought Ichibei would be well suited for this because he is coming up in the anime, so might as well put him in a versus battle. So let me put this simply to anyone who is new to this. Ichibei will be dropped in a random location similar to Super Smash Bros. Final Destination, and he will have to fight the entirety of the Black Clover cast, whether it be the Wizard Kings, Devils, whether it be Asta, Yuno, Lucius, Paladins. He would have to fight them all until he wins or until the Black Cloververse kills him and gets rid of him. Will he be able to beat them, or will the Black Cloververse jump him? Now that we understand the rules and we understand how this fight is going to go, let's start with the victim. I mean, the one person who'll be facing off against the Black Cloververse, Ichibei Vs. The first line of scaling is Gremmy's Meteor. Gremmy was able to summon a meteor that was going to threaten the entirety of the Serite, and we know that Kenpachi in his Shikai was able to slice it in half and destroy it. Now, what I've seen from multiple people, this was calculated either continental or large country level. We know that Ichibei would scale off of this, well, way above it, because we know Ichibei is the pinnacle of the Shinigami, and he is the leader of it, and Yhwach even considered him a war potential. But we do know that Yhwach puts people as war potentials for different reasons. Urahara because it's different kinds of shit, and not that, Ichibei because of his wisdom. Look at Yhwach's fight with Yamamoto. We know that his Bankai was so great that only Yuha could be the one that contained it. That would include Gremmy. And we know that Kenpachi in his Shikai is stronger than Gremmy, and we know that Ichibei, being the pinnacle of Shinigami, would actually be stronger than Yamamoto. And we know that the Zero Division are combined stronger than the Gotai 13, so that would imply to Ichibei. And we know Ichibei's Bankai, he can get even stronger than this, which is a 5 to 10 times multiplier. But saying that Ichibei is continental to large country level is just kind of downplay, because we know that we can get him to planetary because of Yamamoto's statement against Yhwach, well, the fake one. Because against Yamamoto was using his Bankai, and we even know from Unohana that if he continued unleashing his Bankai, the whole Soul Society would be turned to ash. And we do know that the Soul Society is meant to mirror the world of the living. We know Yamamoto even says that he's going to passively destroy Soul Society if it keeps on going. And this would scale to Ichibei, which would give him that planetary level of scaling and give him that 5 to 10 times stronger sense of Bankai. But there is one level of scaling that you could get Ichibei to, and that is Solar System. Now with Solar System, it mainly comes from Gremmy and Soul Society as a whole. We know Soul Society has stars mentioned by Kaname Tozen, and we know that if Yamamoto was going to destroy all Soul Society and that it mirrors the world of the living, that would include these celestial bodies. We know with Gremmy, he just throws Kenpachi into this outer space, which was stated to have multiple stars. We even see it has multiple stars, and we know that Kenpachi is able to cut right through it. And with the scaling I said, Ichibei scaling above Kenpachi, Ichibei scaling above Bankai Yamamoto, this would give him this Solar System levels of power, and I think that's where he caps. Now, I've been seeing some low multiversal Bleach scaling. I'll be real, I don't know how to do that, so Solar System's all he gets. Now, Bleach's speed shouldn't be this controversial. I'm gonna be real, people think that Bleach is lightning speed on Twitter, which I don't listen to, you shouldn't, but I'm gonna be real. Uryu in the beginning of the series is able to outspeed his own shadow, and we know that Hisagi, a fatigued Hisagi, is able to dodge the Negacion, which is basically stated by Yamamoto to be fucking light. And we know that Ichigo, even in the beginning of the series, is able to dodge Acero, which is blatantly stated to literally be light. And we know that Ichibei will be far, far, far greater in speed to a fatigued Shuhei, beginning of the series Ichigo, beginning series Uryu, even Ichigo in the Arrancar saga. Look, I'm not trying to hear that this man Ichibei is slower than a fatigued Hisagi. That man would be greater in speed, which would give him, I'm gonna be nice, I'll just give this MFTL ranges of speed, because I don't think it really matters with the Black Clover's ranges of speed, because I feel like they're all pretty like similar in like the speed department. You know, Ichibei has the old run-of-the-mill Soul Reaper hacks. He can damage the soul since he has the Zanpakuto. He's resistant to soul attacks since he is a soul himself. He's naked. Now we know because of Ichibei's Zanpakuto, he can cut names in half. For example, let's say he cuts Yuno's name in half. That's no longer Yuno, that's ya. That's ya. We know that anyone unworthy that says Ichibei's name would completely have their voice removed and they lose it. And we do know that if Ichibei gets black on you, well, black ink on your weapon, for example, again, if he gets black ink on Asta's sword, Asta would not remember what his swords are, so he's basically screwed. We know that Ichibei has Forbidden Hado, and he can put kanjis on people he spews with black ink. For example, he did the same thing at Yuabak, turning him into a black ant and stomping him like one. To put it simply, Ichibei is broken. Ichibei is strong. But will this be enough against the Black Clover verse? Now, just like I said in my Longers versus My Hero Academia video, which you should definitely go watch, I'm going to put this in very short terms. I'm not going over any low tier in this video. I don't want to hear Gray. I don't want to hear Ghost. I don't want to hear anyone that isn't a high tier. Speaking of the high tiers, people like Asta, Yuno, Lucius, the paladins like Morgan, Asier, Morris, Marileona, even Yasuga, Nachika, and Lucifero will be considered as high tiers. If there's anyone I forgot, they will still be mentioned because the scaling will just scale off of them as well. The high tiers lowest is probably somewhere between country level. Now we know that the Ancient Demon in the beginning of the series versus Lumiere was going to threaten the entire country and destroy it with their clash with the Wizard King. And we know that people like Lucius, Asta, Yuno, and all the high tiers I mentioned should scale massively above this. So that is the lowest they could go, but that's not the best, because we know it's not the best, because mentioned in my longest video, there is multi-continental levels of scaling for Black Clover. We know that in the databook, it was actually stated that the salamander was the sweep of its talons, that it would evaporate the ocean, and this was calculated to be multi-continental. And there is another multi-continental feat due to the Black Clover movie, which again is canon. Supervised for Tabata, can we please stop saying it's not canon? I've said this multiple times. Conrad, pushed against the wall, would basically use a Doomsgate ability that would actually sacrifice his life force and create a giant meteor, which was calced to be multi-continental. And we know that Asta, with the Imperial Sword, was able to destroy said meteor, and that would give him this multi-continental levels of ranges. And we know that the high tiers would scale above this massively, mainly Lucius, Asta, Yuno, the Paladins, Yami, and Noct. Now, there's people been pushing this to moon level since it has the little dimples on the moon, which are called rills. And we know that Reeve is able to create moons in her dream world. And we do know that Dorothy's dream world, everything that she creates is real. So those moons are real. So if you want to say that they're moon level, have right at it. But there is a way you can get them to planetary, since there's multiple planetary statements from Lucifero. It was stated that Lucius was going to control all the magic in the world, and he is seen as a planetary threat, and people like Asta and Yuno are even seen needed to team up against Lucius since it's the battle of the strongest Wizard King. You know that anyone who scales above this Lucifero should be massively above this planetary levels of scaling, which that's where they lie on. I will talk about the bullshit scaling nearing the end, but for now, planetary is where they lay on for the high tiers. Now for the speed. Speed scaling for Black Clover is pretty self-explanatory. Yami in the beginning of the series is able to dodge light from Licht, aka Patri, and we do know that Patri gets faster, and Yami is able to dodge it. We do know that Patri in his Dark Elf form is able to get massively stronger and faster. People like Nozel is able to dodge it, and we do know that Henry has a calc, which is calc to be 162 times the speed of light, which is MFTL. And we do know any of these characters, like Zagred, the Dark Triad in their base, even Lucius should scale massively above this, which would give them this MFTL levels of speed scaling, which would include the other characters I mentioned as the high tiers in the beginning of this section. I really go in depth in like the Longers video, so you can basically just watch that so you can understand where I'm coming from and you don't think I'm just yapping. Now for the hacks, since there's so many, I'm just going to list off some that would actually be a threat to this man Ichibei. So let's say it right now. Soul manipulation, time manipulation, Yuno's Neverland, anti-magic, spatial manipulation, even Yami's Dark Cloak Dimension Slash, Dorothy's Dream World, and we do know that Noct can create a different realm that doesn't exist, but it can burn and freeze. We do know Real has Trial of Valhalla and Fate manipulation. We do know that Henry can absorb the magic of other characters in the series. And stuff like Sealing Magic and all those great stuff which will be put on the screen right now are things Ichibei are going to look out for. Not Lucius' whole arsenal, having his siblings' magic, Lucifero's magic, his own magic, and Astaroth's magic, combined with that makes him a formidable threat. We know that time magic stops time, reverses it, he can heal himself, he can age people. Asa's anti-magic can remove magic that he scales to, and we know that with causality break, he can remove the cause and effect of things that he scales to. Neverland helps weaken the opponent's magic and even is able to increase his ally strength. With Trial of Valhalla, basically you're immortal until that spell is deactivated or it's destroyed. There's Fate Manipulation, there's Mimosa. Yeah, just Mimosa, she is a cheat code. Now, there's Yami's Dimension Slash, which he can cut through dimensions pretty damn easily. Lucifero's Gravity Singularity. Now, with both sides being scaled, let's get on to the battle. Now, looking at the AP, Ichibei has a wide advantage. He has the Black Clovers beat in AP, but they are equal in speed. But with that being said, only the high tiers really have a chance, which include Lucius, Yuno, Asta, Noel, Yami, Noct, Marileona, the Paladins, the Devils. Only they have a real shot at beating Ichibei, but I'm gonna be honest, the moment Ichibei paints them with black, it's over. We know that Ichibei can take black for either the living, Shinigami, Quincy's, or even the dead, and he could just take black from Asta, Yami, Noct, anyone from the Black Clovers who opposes him, and can make that power his, making it kanji, making them either ant or cutting their power in half. Basically, like I said, with Yuno being Y, Lucius becomes L. I feel like something like Dream World that could trap Ichibei wouldn't work, because all Ichibei really has to do is kill the user, which is Dorothy, paint her black, and immediately take her power, or even make a new kanji for her, which is being ant, and stomp her like the ant she is. You know that Lucius' soul manipulation, turning people into paladins, wouldn't work on Ichibei, because Ichibei is a soul himself, so he should have soul resistance, and that would be the end of him. But for Lucius, he could trap this man Ichibei in time and try to age him up, but I feel like Ichibei would be able to move around in his time orb, or even break out of it, possibly one-shot some of them with the high-level Forbidden Hado that I spoke about. Now, we do know Black Clover's best scaling is just planetary, if you want to get serious about it. I'll talk about the inconsistent and wanking part of how the Black Clovers can win, but it's after this section. Now, Ichibei, again, has them beat. Asa's anti-magic, even if we equalize the verse, wouldn't work because he doesn't scale to Ichibei. Not only that, black, it's literally black. Ichibei can just paint Asa's swords black, and Asa will forget his sword's name because it doesn't have a name to it, and Ichibei basically can cut Asa's power in half as well. Even somebody like Fujio's ability, Yuno's Neverland, and Rail's Trial of Valhalla combined probably just wouldn't work, because Ichibei would just neg them and immediately destroy Trial of Valhalla and probably kill Yuno before he can get off his Neverland. But you know how I said this wouldn't be the end for the Black Clovers? Because there are some ways you can get them to Universal. Yeah, I know. Now, looking at Dorothy's Dream World, it always starts with this. Dorothy's able to create stars, and we do know it is an infinite-sized realm, so you can get this to Solar System or even Universal. When mentioning Lucifer destroying the world, and if you want to interpret that him destroying the entire universe, do that. Go ahead. Then that would make him Universal as well. Princey is able to make an infinite amount of soldiers, which would give him infinite energy. Yeah, I know, it's kind of lame, it's kind of ratty, but hey, let's do it. You know, people like the Twin Devils able to burn and freeze concepts that don't exist, which again would give them hacks. Now, if we use this, if we use all of the things I said and basically lie about the Black Cloververse, then yeah, they beat Ichibei. But if we're just being honest, if we're just being literal, then yeah, they lose. But that's only me being disingenuous, and that's me throwing logic all the way out the window just for the Black Clovers to win. So yeah, if you think that Black Clover's Universal, which it's pretty weird, but I have clearly showed in this video that Ichibei versus Black Clover isn't really close.